Marvel Comics, the world of fantasy and wonder in the superhero community, where Spider-Man still can't keep a job 60 years later. People still don't know Logan's real name. Anyways, established in 1939 as Timely Comics by Martin Goodman, a New York pulp magazine, a few years later, a young man by the name of Stanley Martin Lieber was hired as an editorial assistant. By the time the early 1960s came, Timely Comics was renamed Marvel, and Lieber went under his new persona, Stan Lee, where he worked with the illustrative legends Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko. History was written, and the three enthusiasts developed what's known today as the Marvel Method, a collaborative workflow that caused the creation of some of our favorite and most known superheroes and characters to date. Household names like the Incredible Hulk, X-Men, Captain America, Spider-Man, and their first masterpiece, the Fantastic Four. Four astronauts who go out into space for exploration and research, only to come across cosmic rays that affected them all in unique ways. Reed Richards, the leader and smartest of them all, can now stretch, inflate, harden, expand, and mold his body and mass into whatever his mind willed. Susan Storm, Reed's love interest, can now bend light around objects in herself to make herself appear invisible during a force field strong enough to hold back cosmic forces. Johnny Storm, Sue's younger brother, was now capable of engulfing himself in a cloak of flames. He had pyrokinesis, the control of fire and being able to generate fire, as well as flight, fire projection, and heating up to the point of going supernova. And last but certainly not least, Thing. Oh my god, not that Thing. Ben Grimm, Reed Richards' partner and best friend, was now mutated by the cosmic rays into a 6-foot, 500-pound, light orange colored rock-like skinned Thing. Being the only one out of the four to experience physical noticeability with his powers, he now had super strength, durability strong enough to resist Wolverine's claws, and immortality, allowing him not to age. Well, technically, canonically, he can age, but only like once every year. He has like a day where he turns back human and he actually ages, but that's never mind. Throughout the years, the Fantastic Four had a handful of live action adaptations, just enough for the general audience to know who they are. Their silver screen appearances include the 90s, mid-2000s, late 2000s, and 2010s, including cameo appearances in the 2020s like Multiverse of Madness and Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't... Wait, but I've gone off track, haven't I? The trailer for the new 2025 Fantastic Four... The trailer for the new 2025 Fantastic Four movie just dropped not too long ago, and people aren't happy about one specific thing. Okay, I'm sorry. Ben's design in the movie is based off of Alex Ross's artistic choice with the Thing. His Thing design has the iconic and classical light orange rocky formatted skin with the defined cheekbones, a wide square-like jaw, a small button-like nose, and the most notable design choice, his massive brick-like unibrow. Now, Thing's brows have always been relatively expressive in all of his designs. I mean, he's had this design since like the 1960s to now. Even his design choices in the movie adaptations have had him with a thick brow, especially in the 90s. Even in the 2000s, he had relatively big eyebrows, just a more expressive jaw, and a more rounded off head in general. But here's the thing. Alright. It's comic accurate, it's colorful, it has personality, and it's a teaser trailer. People are too quick to judge. Fans used to be fans. They used to be so filled with light and joy and enthusiasm. Now fans are more like critics, constantly judging and down talking movies and media. Now don't get me wrong, I understand that Marvel Studios has become mediocre. Nothing feels the same as it used to be. There used to be so much life and energy behind the movies. A lot had to do with the cast, like Robert Downey Jr., of course, as Iron Man, Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth. They portrayed their characters with so much chemistry with the other actors that it felt like a family. We knew these people. Marvel fans simply are too judgeful just for the sake of it. The community for the MCU and any comic book adaptation, DC included, is walking into a new age and becoming the next generation of talking down or new stories today while praising what they grew up on. For example,
Michael Chiklis' Thing looks aesthetically better. I don't care if Down Low is from Alex Ross, exact look from the comics, don't care. When it comes to the physical look, this is going to look better than this because yes, this has some standing, but this also has CGI. This is a full-on prop suit. Always going to look better being authentic, being an actual physical suit. It just is what it is.
This man really sat here and said that the old design for the Thing couldn't be topped just because it was practical, pretty much. You know who else used to say that? People who grew up watching movies in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, where CGI wasn't the main investment of cinema, which is like I agree. Movies like Alien, Jurassic Park, and I'll probably say any action movie in general had a lot of practical uses of effects. Shit, Terminator, practical with a mix of CGI and computer effects as well, but still a masterpiece in general for their original and creative practical effects and design choices. But that still shouldn't downplay movie today just because of CGI. We should actually look at the story. Yeah, the design choices, but just because they're CGI does not make them bad either. That's just nostalgia and simply him holding on to those old movies just because he grew up with them, which just isn't fair. And I feel like that's just like kind of a bullshit way to look at movies and media today as a fan. Another complaint is from Tyrone Magnus.
People were talking about how small the Thing is. Yeah, I looked it up on Google and they said he's like 6 foot, but 500 pounds, something like that. Something about him looked off. Must have been how they did the CGI, how they animated him. Something was off. Just because something's comic accurate doesn't mean you should do it. Just because something's comic accurate doesn't mean you did it right. You understand that?
Okay, I see where he's coming from with the CGI. It does look a little funky at times. I don't know about the whole complaint about him looking AI, but this is where we run into a problem. He made a statement at the end that just because something is comic accurate doesn't mean that they did it right or it's the right way to go. But then if what they went with as far as the design choice wasn't what you stated as doing it right, then what was the right way to do it? Because everyone is always complaining about, oh, this isn't comic accurate, this not comic accurate. So what do they do then? You can't satisfy everyone. For the most part, Thing's design has always been pretty straightforward. It's always been the rocky skin, even his eyebrows have pretty much always been the same. So I don't know what other design they would really go for, because if you change the color, that'd be a problem. If you give him small eyebrows and exaggerate other features on his face and body, I'm pretty sure other people complain, oh, his hands are too big, his feet are too big, his back is too big, he's too hunched over, he's too upright. People are always complaining, and I think Marvel fans are really insufferable sometimes. Now, not to diss Tyrone
or the content creator that I mentioned before.
I've been watching him since I was like 10 years old. I was really proving a point with how fans are never satisfied. Yeah, I asked for comic accuracy, and then when you get it, you say it looks off. Well, newsflash, if you saw a 6 foot, 500 pound, bright orange humanoid rock person walking down the street with a unibrow and an underbite, I think we'd all be thinking something is off. Which just brings me to the last thing I have to say. These are fictional characters. I think even I am most definitely fall into a judgmental passive aggression when it comes to these characters and the choices studios and VFX artists make with their design choices and even in the stories. Which, by the way, it's not even the VFX artists' fault. They're extremely underpaid and overworked. It's really the actual designers in general at the studio who approve of these things. I don't really know how it works. I'm just kind of going off the dome here. With that being said, maybe the first step maybe the first step in a change for comic book cinema is us. And maybe we should take time to love what we can out of these movies people work so hard on day and night. Or maybe Marvel should lock in and stop producing these BS movies and start valuing quality over quantity and stop caring so much about money they're not even making.